Tristan, striving to make ends meet as a waiter, consistently found himself grappling with meager tips despite pouring his heart into his service. A familiar sense of foreboding lingered as he eyed the entrance, where a pair of girls soon made their appearance. Taking charge of their table, Tristan couldn't shake a nagging intuition that something was amiss, a subtle nuance perceptible in their demeanor. Undeterred, he resolved to offer them nothing short of impeccable service, hoping to brighten their spirits. Every effort was made to elicit a smile from the duo, whose presence provided a much-needed respite from the rudeness of previous patrons. Intent on leaving a lasting impression, Tristan dedicated himself wholeheartedly, though unaware of the underlying currents at play. Regrettably, enlightenment came too late as the girls settled their bill, revealing a modest expenditure. Hastily producing the check, Tristan granted them privacy before witnessing their frantic search for payment. Amidst the uncertainty, his sole wish remained for a fair tip, an acknowledgement of his efforts. Nowadays, it seems rare to find something like that. They finally finished their calculations and stuffed their cash into the leather cover of the bill, then got up and left. In order not to seem too eager, Tristan slowly meandered back to the table. Then, he cleared their glasses and plates off the table and watched them leave. Finally, he was able to glance at the bill. Picking it up, he slowly opened the cover. He was dying of anticipation. Was there a surprise waiting inside for him? However, as he opened the bill and saw their final amount, he felt waves of frustration wash over him. He had reached his breaking point. He was tired of the same old thing happening over and over. There was something he was missing, though. A strange thing caught Tristan's attention just as he was about to lose it. As they walked out the door, one of the girls glanced back at him. It was a look of concern, as if she was trying to convey something. Suddenly, Tristan realized that there was more to this than a poor tip. Trying to understand what was happening, he stared at the bill. Tristan watched as the pair walked through the door and disappeared. There was only him and the bill left at the table. Now, was he capable of cracking the code in front of him? Could he miss the bigger picture? His eyes remained fixed on the bill, confused as ever. They had left him a tip of $33.30. Their tip was oddly specific. What was the reason? Tristan checked what the girls had ordered and added up the bill, but it didn't help him understand. Then he looked around the restaurant and noticed something. Each table had a number. When he saw table number 33 with 3 men sitting at it, he wondered if that was part of the puzzle. He panicked when he realized something strange was happening. In New Jersey, Tristan Taylor lived with his parents in a simple house. He wanted to move out, but he didn't have enough money yet. To save up for college and his own place, he worked hard at a nearby wine bar, but Tristan found it tough because people weren't giving tips like they used to. When Tristan first started working at the restaurant, he made a lot of money on Saturday nights. He saved it up, thinking he could move out soon, but after a while, the tips started getting smaller and smaller. Now, he was only making half of what he used to on weekends. Tristan felt really frustrated. He worked hard, but it seemed like his dreams were slipping away. But he didn't give up. Tristan thought maybe things would get better, especially during holidays when people usually gave more tips. He kept at it for weeks, but trying to be nice to customers all the time made him tired and a bit bitter. He knew that most people hated tipping, but they didn't understand that he needed it to survive. And he couldn't spread awareness either. Imagine a waiter asking for a big tip. He'd probably get fired for that. Tristan was near the end of his rope. He put away the little bit of money that he earned, but moving out and going to college seemed years away. At this rate, it would take him an eternity. Was he willing to wait so long, or should he find another job? For now, he stayed at the wine bar, staying hopeful. That's when he saw them. It was a Saturday like any other. Some of Tristan's friends asked him if he wanted to go out with them. He had to surly decline. They knew he had to work, but they taunted him anyway. He woke up at 9:00 a.m. to get to work and started his shift. There were tables everywhere, but he had no idea that 2 people were going to change his day. Even though the wine bar was busy, the competitive waiters and waitresses took on as many tables as they could. This meant that Tristan felt like he didn't have enough to make enough money by the end of the night. As a compromise, they told him that the next table could be his. Now he just had to wait for the next patrons to come in. Tristan could be patient. He prayed that the next people to walk through the door would be generous. It was a Saturday night. Who wouldn't be feeling generous after a few glasses of wine? But he didn't know that his next patrons were only around the corner. They were about to open the door and change his life forever. Like clockwork, Tristan's last table of customers paid their bill and left, but the tip was just 4%. They had been a table of 6 people and could have been a bit more generous. He was so fed up, but his next table would be something he would never forget. The 2 girls were about to enter the wine bar. Tristan was struggling to make ends meet. He was so sick and tired of being undertipped, no matter how much effort he put into his service. It seemed like it was going to be one of those days. Then he saw a pair of girls come into the place. They sat down, and it looked like he was going to be the one to serve them. But he had no idea how it was going to end. The 2 girls had been kind enough, but he couldn't help but feel like something was off. He could see something behind their eyes or in their body language that gave it away. There was more at play than what was visible to them all, but Tristan knew he couldn't pry. He instead decided to try and give them the best service possible. Maybe that would cheer them up. Tristan put all of his efforts into serving the 2 young women. He wanted to see if he could get them to at least smile. He was so sick of rude customers that they were a breath of fresh air. He intended to make their stay there memorable. But he had no idea what was actually going on behind the scenes. He found out too late. The 2 girls spent a modest amount at the place and asked Tristan if he could bring them the bill. He quickly obliged them and handed it to them before giving them their privacy. He noticed them start scrounging together their cash to pay for their meal. As he walked away, he just hoped he'd get an acceptable tip. It was something that seemed rare these days. After a few minutes, the girls were finally done with their calculations and stuffed their cash into the bill's leather cover before getting up and heading for the door. Tristan didn't want to seem too eager and slowly meandered back to the table. He cleared their glasses and plates away from the table as he watched them get to the front door. Finally, he could take a glance at the bill. He picked it up and slowly opened the cover. The anticipation was killing him. Would he find an unexpected surprise waiting inside? But as he opened the bill and saw their final amount, waves of frustration washed over him. This was the last straw. He was tired of nothing ever changing, but he was missing something. Tristan was about to lose it when he noticed something. One of the girls turned around as they headed out the door and glanced back at him. It was a stare of concern, as if she was trying to communicate something. That's when Tristan realized something more than just a low tip might be happening. He stared at the bill, trying to figure out what was going on. Tristan watched as the girls left and disappeared out of sight. Now, it was just him and the tip left on the table. Would he be able to solve the mystery, or would he miss the big picture? He looked at the $33.30 tip they left. It was oddly specific, but why? Tristan checked what the girls had ordered and the total bill, but it didn't help him understand. Then he looked around the restaurant and noticed something. Each table had a number. When he saw table number 33 with 3 men sitting at it, he wondered if that was part of the puzzle. He decided to investigate the men and the message the girls wrote on the bill. The girls had written, "This number is important. Once you figure it out, you'll understand everything." Tristan didn't get it at first, but when he approached the table, everything suddenly made sense. He greeted the men and mentioned the note from the girls. One of the men explained that the girls, who were his daughters, probably didn't tip enough and wanted him to do it. He then gave Tristan a $130 tip, which was amazing. Tristan thanked him and left, realizing that people could be kind. The men and their daughters became regulars, and every time they ate there, they left the same instructions for the tip. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you like it. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.